Welcome one and all to Inazuma 11 Season 3 Reviewed. And I bet you're wondering, what now? Well, this season we go against the Football Frontier International, meaning that we go all across the world, baby. From America to Brazil. Yeah, this review is going to be a little different since this season's what made me an Inazuma 11 fan. I also will not be going into detail with characters I've already given like in-depth, ideas from basically. So characters like Endo, Kiddo, or Goenji will not actually be talked about that often in this video. Mainly because of the fact that, well, all their development is something that you can't really get any of the benefits out of from watching this video. You need to watch the show yourself. Because I could just say, oh, Endo gets, tried as a captain, but I'll talk about that when we're talking about the other teams. So, anyway, let's get to all of the new characters that Season 3 has sprung. Before we get into the characters of this season, I just wanted to mention how cool the music is. Yeah, Inazuma 11, the first 3 seasons, have 6 openings, all done by T-Pistons and KMT, which are weird names, but the music they make is fire. They not only did that, they also did the music for all the games, which these openings are used for a lot. They also did that in Go as well, but for the original series. So I even got a whole ranking here. I'm about to show it off right here, right now. Yeah, so Good Kita's the first one, Sunaga Rio is the second one, and the 4 other ones are all pretty good, but they're just not as good as the first 2. So now let's get to the characters. Before we get into the world arc and the entire villains that include that, and antagonists, let's start out with the members of Inazuma Japan who were either introduced this season or elaborated on this season. First we got Toromaru Utsumiya. He's cool. He's the youngest member of the group, has a sick mother who he cares about deeply. So he wants to put a lot of pressure on him for that stuff. And also, at the beginning of the show, he didn't want to make any shoots because of the fact that, well, he's super gifted and talented at soccer, but, he played against people who weren't super gifted and talented at soccer, and basically were hating on him, and he was like, to make friends, I don't have to play good. But then Goenji tells him, stop with that. Goenji, helping people out for their emotional stuff. Anyway, so Toromaru becomes overall pretty cool. But then we also got the other new character, Tobitaka Seiya, who is an ex-delinquent who's taken soccer to get his life back together. And he's pretty cool. He's a fan favorite, honestly, especially with his whole archetype of being a delinquent type character. Really like it. He and Toromaru also have this small little episode where they bond together over their problems. That gave some pretty good development to both of them. And I like it a lot. But now we got the 3 characters who introduced last season, but I didn't really mention. Well, first we got Fudo Akio. Fudo Akio was part of the Shin Tekoku arc. Yeah, he came back, and now he's not that much of a sadistic person. He's just a douche now. But, a pretty cool guy overall. Yeah. Everyone doesn't trust him because, last season. But they learned to trust him over time, realizing the fact that he really wants to actually just play soccer with these guys. And they respect him. And he starts making some pretty good plays, and him and the team become closer together. It doesn't feel out of character due to the fact that he keeps his personality despite all of this development, which is pretty cool. Then we got Hijikata Raiden. Hijikata was introduced when they were fighting Goenji. Yeah, he was living with Goenji during the time where you left in Season 2. And he joins Inazuma Japan. He doesn't do a lot until the match with the Empire, or the Kingdom. Yeah, for some reason the Argentinian team is called the Empire, and the Brazil team is called the Kingdom. It's that stupid and generic. So the Kingdom main captain, Macronejo, and his crew don't want to play like their actual soccer because of the fact that Garshield's basically ruling over their life to the fact that he basically gave his parents a old job as long as they played soccer well, which, make their soccer performance lack a little bit. But Raiden's like, screw that. Garshield's gone now. You can play your soccer. That's what your families would be really happy about. If you're happy, that's pretty good. And then we got our final dude, Midorikawa Ryuji. Midorikawa is the most disrespected member of Inazuma Japan. He leaves super early, but he has a decent arc for what he's there. He's the member of the whole alien thing, which has the most problem with the fact that now that he's been reacquainted with normal society, he tries picking up a new little quirk of saying words like philosophers, such as, I don't know, we think therefore we are. He didn't actually say that, that's just an example I'm using. Yeah, so he leaves after the Fighter Dragon match, and he never comes back, sadly. And he was really cool, but somehow Kurimatsu got more airtime on the team. At least Kurimatsu is in the same boat as him. Okay, that's still not good, don't respect Midorikawa like that. Midorikawa was also raised, if I didn't mention that earlier. So I guess Midorikawa got some Lancer luck.
Dude's not weak, he's just got Lancer luck.
We got the villains now. Well, we first got Garshield. Garshield is the leader of the entire Football Frontier International and runs everything. Being involved in the 40-year fight against Endo Daisuke, Mamoru's thought-dead grandfather, to take over the entire world using soccer to start a world war. And, well, this leads to him running the Brazilian team, the Kingdom, who he held hostage by basically saying, if you don't play well, I will destroy you and your family's lives. Which, is totally wrong. And then we also got the fact that he, also has Team Garshield, which he uses against Inazuma Japan to fight them. Inazuma Japan wins against them, with Endo having God Catch for the first time, or at least a weaker version of the move. And he wins the match, and Garshield goes away forever. Yeah, Garshield was technically moving everything from the shadows. He's not very interesting as a character, but he made Kabeyama Reiji a little bit more interesting. Kabeyama Reiji, now that we know, is a guy who hated soccer because of the fact that his father's terrible plays kind of ruined his life. But he then realizes the fact that from video, that he subconsciously was trying to do those same plays in his mind and use them to win 40 years worth of soccer. And he realizes that, and he stops being so much of a douche. And they don't try to act like, oh, that makes him not bad anymore. No, he should still be held accountable. But now they're like, he's okay. Yeah. He would have even gone to jail, but he died due to Garshield's meddling. So, yeah. Well, until Inazuma 11 Go Galaxy, where they changed that. But I haven't watched that yet, so I'm gonna see how they did that. And then we got to go on to the Football Frontier International's early stages. We got Big Waves and Desert Lions for Australia and Qatar. Australia introduced Hizatsu tactics, which is a way that people are able to use Hizatsu moves for a strategical advantage, specifically. And then we also got Qatar's Desert Lion, showing speciality, the fact that they're able to move in super hot heats, being able to use that for their own victory. But then they also realized the fact that Toromaru, the person who can beat them, tells you the fact that he's so gifted, isn't playing to his full extent. And Goenji basically tells Toromaru to get over himself and to play properly, and he does. They're able to win the Desert Lion match. And then they fight Neo Japan, a team made out of people who are mad because of the fact that they weren't chosen. And they fight against them, realizing the true strength of those who wasn't chosen, the fact that they need to try even harder to show to them that they truly deserve that position. And then we got to go to Fire Dragon, the China team. Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon's the beginning of everything that's great about this season. That's for a variety of reasons. First of all, Aphrodite, Burn, and Gazelle all come back. Even though I have problems with Burn and Gazelle, they're still cool. Seeing them fight is awesome. And then we got the 3 story arcs which are concluded here. We got Fudo Akio, whole trust thing, with everyone now finally learning to trust him, due to the fact that they all see the fact that he actually wants to be on the team for the right reasons. Then we got Tobitaka Seiya, who, you know, was struggling the entire time. And we finally see the true strength that he was able to manifest using Shinkuma for the first time. It was awesome. And then we got Goenji, who's had a little struggle about him being forced to stop soccer. But he realized the fact that even if he does have to stop soccer, his feelings for it will never change. And he and Toromaru do their final attack of Tiger Ski to win the final point. And then we got the Football Frontier International World Division, where they fight the 4 teams. We first got Edgar Valentines of Knights of Queen. Edgar Valentines is a posh dude, meaning that he thinks they were peasants. This is the true strength of the world. Edgar Valentine is holding the belief, the fact that anyone who's actually part of the world level must carry on something more than just themselves. Their entire country wishes, and all those who couldn't be their wishes. And Endo realizes this, and he's able to manifest that by learning his own new Hizatsu technique, nothing that his grandfather had ever thought about, called Ichiken the Hand, which does not stop the ball, it reflects the ball, which is great. And then we got Teres Tolue from Argentina, part of the Empire. He's kind of a douche, honestly. Yeah, he's the one who gets the least development, probably because he's the only one who doesn't fight Endo in any way. But it's a pretty good match, honestly. And even though Inazuma Japan loses the match, they still win it in a certain way. Yeah, the reason why Endo, Kido, Sakuma, and Fudo could not join is because of the fact that they were dragged into a match versus Orpheus's replacements for the Italian team, Team K, led by Demonio Strata and Mr. K, Kabiyama Reiji, I mean. And so they fought that, but Kabiyama Reiji and Garshield decided, hey, we're gonna change the schedule up. Meaning the fact that now we have a team without an Endo or a Kido. And even without them, they were still able to win to a certain degree. Kogure, Kabeyama, and Kurimatsu all were able to defeat the Hizatsu tactic that they came up with, which beated everyone. They were also able to break through Teres Tolue's whole technique, which, you know, he didn't lose a single point to during the entire preliminaries. And then we also have Tachi Mukai, who finally uses Ma'ol the Hand to beat them. And it's beautiful, honestly. And then we also got our another characters. We got the Unicorn. The Unicorn with Dylan Keat and Mark Wigna, along with Domon Asuka and Ichinose Kazuya. They're the American team. And they don't really focus on Dylan and Mark. They focus on Ichinose and Domon, mainly because they're main characters anyway. Yeah, basically Ichinose got ran over by a car earlier in the backstory, and he now has to deal with that injury now, unlike the previous 2 seasons. And he wants to play to his heart's content until that injury succumbs to him. He doesn't care if he never gets to play soccer again, as long as he's able to play against Mamoru one more time. But he wasn't able to do that completely. He had to stop halfway through the match. But everyone's supported of him. And at the end, we learn the surgery, which will help him be able to play soccer again, was successful. So, you know, happy ending, honestly. And then we also got the next team, Orpheus, led by Fideo Aldana. And, well, this other guy named Shinita, but I'm not going to mention him since he doesn't really do anything. Anyway, Fideo Aldana is probably the one member of another team who's closest to Endo, the fact that they were teamed up before during the Team K match. and they hang out with each other. Video is the person who allows Kabiyama Reiji to finally realize what's the point of his soccer. That, expands his character. And we even learned that Video is in a certain other situation, which is kind of similar, but instead of hating his father, he loves his father. And that's a decent arc, honestly, especially if you see how it actually plays out. So, Inazuma Japan and them tie, meaning that they would have to rely on the Unicorn to win. But Unicorn loses to the Empire, and they win. So, it's Inazuma Japan, the Kingdom. We also got Orpheus and Little Gigant, the two teams left. So they fight each other. Yeah, the Kingdom, the Brazilian team, led by Macronejo, is under extreme stress to the Garshield's meddling, and they finally are able to break through that with their own soccer due to the help of Inazuma Japan. That leads to an amazing match full of happiness and joy. And then Little Gigant beats Orpheus the next day. Little Gigant, after the whole little Team Garshield mini arc, is their final challenge. Little Gigant is literally just black versions of all the characters that we met before. That was part of the original Inazuma 11. And that's the entire point. They are a version of them who have stagnated. They haven't gone any farther from as strong as they believe they were. And that's their downfall, ultimately. Inazuma Japan had had the rug taken under them so many times. Instead of cowering and giving up, they've been able to evolve, overcoming every challenge. Edgar Valentinus' Excalibur, Endo was able to learn a new technique to block it entirely. Teres Tolue's The Empire? Teres Tolue beat them in the end. They were still able to break through his unbreakable technique. So they still won in a way. Unicorn? They still weren't able to beat them because they actually beat them. And Ichinose learned something as well to try to get better. That way he could actually join them again. And the fact that he was too headstrong into belief of that he had to go against them instead of trying to be at his best in the future. Orpheus. Orpheus was another challenge. Someone that they would have to go against, surpassing Kabiyama Reiji's terrible control. And they were able to do that, turning Kageyama Reiji into not that bad of a guy from what he originally was, which they could have never done originally. Even though they tied against them, they got something out of it. The Empire. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean the Kingdom from Brazil. They were able to overcome Garshield and allow people to play their own soccer again. They won against them, but an even greater victory is the fact that those people can actually have fun like they originally wanted to, and as they originally hoped to do in the future. And now Little Gigant, their ability to evolve, their ability to adapt, and get a lot of things out of the match, allows them to beat Little Gigant. Because Little Gigant already believes that they're too good anyway. The fact that they didn't even use Hizatsu techniques before that match. They had weighted clothing on during the last match against Orpheus. That's how little these people care. That's how little. That's how good they actually believe they truly were. But Inazuma Japan were able to knock the rug out of them, winning in the end, learning God Catch, Endo's strongest goalkeeping technique, which was able to beat them. And all three of them, Torimaru, Goenji, and Endo, learning Jet Stream, a Hizatsu technique breaking through Tamashi the Hand, which Roko believed was, in reality, the true, strongest goalkeeping Hizatsu technique. leading to an overall finale of the show. Then we get a year-long time skip. Basically, we're at the graduation ceremony, and everyone's kind of happy. They have a whole little game where no one wins. I don't believe that for a second, but we're gonna pretend like that makes sense. Anyway, so in the end, Inazuma 11 Season 3 was great. Even though I didn't go into a lot of detail on characters such as Endo, Goenji, and Kiddo, what they do in the season is good. But, you know, it's like the ending of everything that came previously, honestly. And something like that can truly only be enjoyed by those who have seen everything before it. It's like Infinity War or Endgame. Yeah, you could watch Infinity War or Endgame. You would hear someone tell you about Infinity War or Endgame. But if you don't even have any of the build-up, or know anything before that happens, then what is even the point? You gain nothing from it, honestly. It doesn't make any sense to you, and you're just there confused. That's how I feel about trying to speak to people about Inazuma 11 Season 3. Majority of the stuff that happens here only really makes sense if you actually watch the show itself. Or, you know, or at least as impactful if you watch the show yourself. I could tell you about these things, but there won't be as much as an impact as if you just watch the show yourself. So I don't know what Go will bring me. It might be utter trash. It might make me want to die. I don't believe that, mainly because I've seen gameplay of the game to know its story at a decent amount, and seen the movie, so I'm pretty confident Go will at least be good. At least the first season of it, anyway. So, see you next time, when we finally review Inazuma 11. Go! Before we get to them credits, let's talk about Kudo, the coach, and his daughter, Fuyuka. They're super cool, especially since Coach Kudo actually is Fuyuka's adopted father, mainly because of the fact that Fuyuka's actual parents helped out with Endo Daisuke leaving Japan to go to Africa to escape Garshield. So they were murdered in a freak accident. I can't remember the exact details, honestly, right now, since this is a very, very late addition to the script. Anyway, they got murdered by a car accident. It's heavily implied to be Garshield. It probably was, since Garshield is such a evil villain. Yeah. Basically, Fuyuka also lost her memories due to the fact that she was so sad from that. She didn't even want to remember any of those things. Basically, no. Kudo had her not remember those things to the fact that she basically lost all will to live, which, then again, she did watch her parents get run over in a car accident, so I can't exactly say that's an overreaction. Yeah. And, well, she got her memories back, and everything's all cool. Fuyuka's also low-key the best manager, better than Natsumi, but, Natsumi ends up with Endo in the anime and shined. But hey, if you play Inazuma 11 Go Shadow, you get to have Fuyuka as Endo's wife. So, you know, shippers are happy on that account. So, yeah, that's it. Well, let's just get to them credits and the other thing after the credits. Inazuma 11, the movie, Ogre. I'm gonna talk about very, very briefly. Basically, this movie is a recap of the first 26 episodes. It's basically like the rebirth and end of Evangelion. Yeah, the first part of this recaps the first 26 episodes of the anime series. Well, the first 24. And instead of the Zeus match, we got a match against this team called Ogre. And Mamoru Endo's grandson, Canon Endo, comes out of literally nowhere and decides to bring 5 characters from season 2 and 3 help him out during the soccer match against Ogre. It's an okay movie. It probably won't help you if you watched it directly after the first season. Watch it after season 3. Then it will be okay, especially since season 3 whole ending was supposed to be for you to reminisce on all the good times, honestly. Yeah. Also, for the last 10 minutes with the Ogre match, the Ogre match is beautifully animated, honestly. It's half the main reason why I suggest you should even watch the movie in the first place, honestly. Because other than that, it's just a recap of the first 26 episodes. And the first 26 episodes of Inazuma 11 are good, so just go watch those, honestly. But other than that, the final fight's good. Everything else is So basically,
That was weird.